In the beginning, there was chaos. And in the chaos, there were no iPhones, no rockets, no neural networks. And evolution said, the strongest shall not survive. The one who finds the dirtiest hack shall survive. And she saw that it was good. And she created a creature the size of a period at the end of a sentence, which survived 500 million years of nuclear winters, vacuums, and radiation. Then she created us, the ones afraid of spiders and public speaking. And she saw that this was funny. Then evolution, apparently feeling mischievous, handed the real cheat codes to entirely different creatures. They don't complain, don't search for the meaning of life, and don't buy anti-wrinkle cream. They just exist, quietly breaking everything we thought was possible. You're watching Academic Troll, the channel for people who want to know more without being bored to death in the process. Like, subscribe, let's go. The tardigrade? From the beginning of time to the end of it. In the 500 millionth year of creation, the water bear. 8 legs, the look of a microscopic teddy bear, a size smaller than the comma on this page. All 5 mass extinctions passed over it, like cloud shadows. Dinosaurs arrived and vanished. It stayed. Evolution gave it something it gave nothing else, a protein called DSUP, which shields DNA from everything the universe can throw at it. Temperatures from near absolute zero to 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and it simply curls into a ton state and switches off its metabolism, like a laptop that's been closed but never switched off. Pressure 6 times greater than the deepest ocean trench. Radiation 1,000 times above the lethal dose for humans. Complete dehydration for decades. In 2007, scientists launched it into open space without a suit or a prayer, just vacuum, ultraviolet, and temperatures that make metal brittle. 10 days. The ones shielded from direct UV came back alive, laid eggs, and didn't post about it, because they had no need for validation. You wear SPF 50 because you're scared of the sun. The water bear has been sitting on moss for 500 million years, looking at that and saying nothing, because it already knows the answer, and it doesn't need the cream. Blessed are the tardigrades, for they shall inherit the universe.
The immortal jellyfish, the creature for which old age is not a sentence. A transparent jellyfish with a red stomach, smaller than a fingernail. You wouldn't guess, looking at it, that it found what every sacred text has been failing to deliver for 3,000 years. When it ages, starves, or gets injured, it doesn't die. It contracts into a blob, sinks to the seafloor, and reverts, every cell forgetting what it used to be and deciding to start over. Its juvenile form rebuilding from scratch. A new colony grows from an old jellyfish. Not regeneration, a full rollback of the life cycle. Theoretically, infinite. Scientists call this transdifferentiation. The jellyfish calls it Tuesday. A predator can eat it, a net can catch it, but old age? Old age, it simply refuses. When the time comes, it goes back to the beginning, like a software process that crashes, reboots, and picks up exactly where it left off. Scientists discovered this in the 90s and have been in quiet, well-funded confusion ever since, which they call ongoing research. Last month, you bought something with hyaluronic acid, or collagen, or an age-defying complex. Doesn't matter. Somewhere in the ocean right now, a tiny creature is pressing the reset button it found before we even existed. It doesn't die of old age. It just starts again.
The axolotl, born in sin, stayed in childhood. A pink salamander with feathery gills branching from its head, looking like a cheerful dragon that simply refused to grow up. It doesn't. This is called neoteny. It keeps its larval features for life, reproduces, and faces the world with the expression of an animal that genuinely doesn't care what it looks like. But eternal childhood is the least of it. Cut off its leg, it grows back completely. Bones, muscles, nerves, blood vessels, no scar, in a couple of months. Part of its brain regenerates. Spinal cord repairs itself. Heart, eye, same story. Biologists study it like it's the last copy of a book that's about to burn. If they crack it, humans after amputation might grow a new limb.
You've complained about a scratch that didn't heal for a week. For the axolotl, that's a slow Tuesday. In the wild, it's nearly extinct. Mexican lakes are drying up, and it's disappearing quietly, still smiling. In labs, though, thousands are bred and studied because the secret is within reach, and everyone's terrified of losing it before they understand it. Evolution clearly had a favorite. The axolotl knows, and it's not telling.
The naked mole rat is ugly as sin, alive as gospel. No beauty, no dignity, a wrinkled pink lump with teeth that protrude outside its face, hairless, loose-skinned, wearing the expression of something that has heard every explanation and stopped caring. The naked mole rat. Evolution looked at it and thought not about aesthetics, she thought about survival. It almost never gets cancer. At the first sign of dangerous cell division, the cell self-destructs before the damage spreads. No waiting room, no second opinion required. You schedule screenings. It doesn't need them. The problem is solved at the architectural level. It lives over 30 years, which for a rodent is an eternity. A regular mouse gets 3. It ages slowly, keeps its muscle mass and coordination almost to the end, as if time runs at a different scale for it. Nearly immune to the pain of acid and capsaicin, the kind of pain that sends humans to the ER gets filed under mild irritant. Barely needs oxygen. CO2 barely registers. And it lives in colonies with a queen, workers, and soldiers. Eusociality, rare among mammals, like a monastic order that happens to live underground. Hairless, hideous, teeth first, laughs last.
The mantis shrimp, its strike is wrath, its vision is revelation. Bright as a tropical warning label, weighing about half a pound. You look at it and can't tell if it's a creature or a threat assessment. It has 16 types of color receptors. Humans have 3. It sees ultraviolet, infrared, and polarized light, spots transparent prey where we see only water. Its eyes move independently, like 2 separate animals sharing one head, each running its own hunt. But the main event is the punch. Its club-like appendages strike at 50 miles per hour. At the point of impact, a cavitation bubble forms. For a fraction of a second, the water around the strike is hotter than the surface of the sun. A star the size of a fist, born and dead before you blink. The shockwave shatters shells, breaks bones, and kills prey even on a miss. Scientists filmed it at 100,000 frames per second and kept rechecking the numbers because the numbers seemed wrong. Sometimes the strike injures the shrimp itself. The armor holds. Aquarists keep them in reinforced glass tanks and call them thumb splitters, with the kind of respect you don't say out loud. We're proud of a decent right hook. It creates a miniature sun underwater with a flick of its wrist. Evolution was clearly in a combative mood that day.
The wood frog, dead in winter, risen in spring. An ordinary brown frog from the forests of North America. Nothing remarkable until winter comes. When temperatures drop below freezing, it lies down on the moss and freezes solid, 70% of its body. Heart stops, breathing stops, blood turns to ice, eyes go white and still. By any medical definition, clinical death. Full, no asterisks. Fill out the death certificate. It'll be annoyed about that in spring. But inside, a natural antifreeze. A massive concentration of glucose in its cells keeps ice crystals from tearing the tissue apart. It lies there all winter, motionless, pulseless, breathless, and waits. In spring, the sun warms the ice. The heart restarts on its own. Slowly at first, then at full rhythm. And within a few hours, it's jumping and croaking like nothing happened. This isn't hibernation. It's cryobiosis, a genuine suspension of life. Scientists study it to keep donor organs viable longer, and eventually, maybe, to put humans into cryosleep for interstellar travel. You're cold in the office and you put on a sweater. It switches itself off for 6 months and comes back on schedule. Truly, it is risen.
The octopus, and in its arms, a mind. 8 flexible arms, 3 hearts, blue copper-based blood, a brain distributed across its entire body. 2/3 of its neurons live not in its head but in its arms, each of which thinks, explores, solves problems, and acts on its own. Sever an arm and it will keep moving for a while, as if it hasn't registered that the story is over. The octopus solves puzzles, opens jars with lids, uses tools, changes color and texture in an instant, merging with rock, sand, coral, as if the concept of a fixed self is something it never needed. Some species collect coconut shells and build shelters from them, just because they can. They recognize individual human faces. They have personalities. Some of them hold grudges, which, for an animal with no long-term memory by conventional measures, is either impressive or deeply unsettling, depending on whether you've annoyed one recently. 3 hearts. 2 pump blood through the gills. 1 pumps it through the body. When an octopus swims fast, 1 heart temporarily shuts down to conserve resources, a backup architecture we never bothered with. We consider ourselves the smartest thing on the planet. The octopus looks at us and is clearly not impressed, thinks with 8 limbs, and opens the jar you couldn't get on the first try.
The platypus made on the day God stopped following rules. Australia split from the mainland, and nature said, let's try something weird. The result was the platypus. Duckbill, beaver tail, otter body, venomous spurs on its hind legs, and it lays eggs like a reptile while nursing its young like a mammal. One of a kind. Scientists argued for so long about which category it belonged to that they eventually created a new one just for it, monotremes, a whole taxonomic group built around a single animal. But the real story is the bill. It contains thousands of electroreceptors that detect the faint electrical fields produced by prey mussels moving underwater. The platypus hunts with its eyes closed, ears closed, nostrils closed, feeling the electricity that living bodies can't help but emit. The way a good accountant reads a room, not by looking, but by sensing the numbers in the air. The venom in its spurs causes pain that can last months in humans, and there's almost no treatment. Evolution was on a creative binge. She assembled it from spare parts across multiple classes, blended reptile and mammal, and installed electrical vision where other animals put nostrils. And she saw that it was good, though no one understood why.
The bdelloid rotifer, getting along without males since the Mesozoic. A microscopic transparent worm with tiny spinning wheels on its head, which sounds like something a child invented, except it has been doing this since before the dinosaurs. Only females, always, for 80 to 100 million years. Evolution said males? Optional, and they switched to parthenogenesis. They just cloned themselves. Normally, lineages like this go extinct fast as harmful mutations accumulate. Genetics is merciless. But the bdelloid rotifer found a workaround that no rulebook anticipated. It steals genes. Industrially. Its DNA contains fragments from bacteria, fungi, plants, and other animals. Horizontal gene transfer. It splices useful foreign DNA into its own genome and runs the upgrades, like downloading patches from an internet that doesn't exist yet. This isn't Darwinian evolution. It's molecular piracy. And on top of that, it desiccates completely, turns to dust, travels on the wing for years, and a single drop of water brings it back, active and fertile. We have dating, divorce, apps, long conversations, and enormous amounts of drama. It clones itself, steals genes from everyone around it, and says, I handle my own upgrades. Geneticists are still in shock, and a little jealous.
The honey badger was told no, and it did not hear. Weighs up to 35 pounds. Looks like an angry badger with an extremely confident face. Officially named the world's most fearless animal by the Guinness Book of Records. It attacks lions, hyenas, Cape buffalo, and black mambas. It usually wins. Its skin is thick and loose. Teeth and claws slide off it like it was designed with tolerances built in for exactly this purpose. Its resistance to venom is extraordinary. A cobra bites it, it shakes it off, catches its breath, and keeps going, as if that was a minor inconvenience. Thousands of bees sting it while it tears open a hive. It chews honey and larvae and doesn't look their way. There are documented cases of honey badgers chasing leopards off their own kills. The leopard left. The honey badger ate. Evolution looked at beauty, size, and caution and said, that's for the ones who negotiate. The honey badger got rage, armor, and a complete absence of the internal voice that says, maybe don't. We have tanks, missiles, and nuclear weapons, and we're still afraid of public speaking. It's the size of a house cat going after a lion. And the lion remembers.
What we are left with? Here's the most uncomfortable truth. Evolution never selected for the most beautiful, the strongest, or the smartest. She selected for whoever found the most precise hack for their niche and held onto it for hundreds of millions of years without a single complaint. Water bears survived the vacuum of space, jellyfish hit reset on aging, axolotls regrow organs, wood frogs die and resurrect on a schedule, and honey badgers have been telling the world where to go since the Mesozoic. And none of them consider themselves the crown of creation. Only we do that. But here's what's interesting. We're the ones who invented microscopes, genomics, and laboratories specifically to study these evolutionary trolls and steal their abilities. Regeneration, cancer resistance, cryosleep, DNA repair under radiation, we'll pull all of it out of them and fold it into ourselves. The bdelloid rotifer has been doing exactly this for 100 million years. We just need a little more time. And considerably more grant funding. Which means the crown of creation is still up for grabs. We're working on it. That's all from me. Other channels usually spend the outro begging you to like, subscribe, and comment. I won't even mention it. I'll just make the next video. You'll figure it out.